Dear friends, welcome to another episode in the fantastic military world. In this video, we will talk about the essential role that the F-35 is playing in the defense of Ukraine against the Russian invasion. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any news. At the end of February 2024, the Minister of Defense of Singapore, Ng Eng Hen, during a hearing in Parliament aimed at justifying his country's decision to increase the number of F-35 fighter jet orders, highlighted the aircraft's capabilities in areas such as stealth and electronic warfare, emphasizing that no other aircraft possesses such capabilities, and that this justifies the increase in the number of orders. During his hearing, the Minister of Defense cited the role played by the F-35 in the defense of Ukraine, saying that the fighter's capabilities are being crucial for the Ukrainian effort, both defensively and offensively. It is clear that the F-35 is not being operated by the Ukrainian Air Force, and there is no possibility of this happening in the future. But then, how exactly is this fighter being so important to the country's defense against the Russian invasion? According to the Minister of Defense of Singapore, the role played by the F-35 in Ukraine is neither offensive nor defensive, but rather monitoring the airspace over the Black Sea and mainly threats and even potential targets on the ground. The minister specifically referred to the fighter's ability to identify Russian air defenses in Crimea and southern Ukraine. The minister did not go into great technical details, but he was referring to the impressive set of electronic warfare equipment of the F-35, consisting of its active, electronically scanned array radar, APG-81, its electronic warfare system, AN/ASK-239 Barracuda, and its electro-optical system, AN/AAQ-37 and 40, aimed at detecting threats and locking them on target using only the heat they emit. The APG-81 radar by Northrop Grumman was developed specifically for the F-35 and is the successor to the APG-77, which had been developed for the F-22. This radar, besides having all the capabilities for the identification of aerial targets of the APG-77, also includes expanded capabilities for the identification of targets and threats on land and the sea surface in air mode. It is capable of tracking up to 23 threats at 93 miles away, being able to engage up to 19 simultaneously. The AN/ASK-239 Barracuda is actually a set of various equipment with a very important mission: to actively interfere with the electronic systems of the adversary, including radars and communication systems, while preventing the adversary from doing the same with the electronic systems of the fighter. It also includes alert systems and countermeasures, with missile approach detectors and automatic launchers of flares and chaff. Finally, we have the AN/AAQ-37, a set of high-resolution infrared sensors spread throughout the entire fuselage of the fighter, designed to detect and track ballistic missile launches, anti-air missiles, and even other aircraft. Thanks to this system, the F-35 can follow threats passively, that is, without resorting to the active emission of radar waves that can be easily intercepted by adversary sensors, and thus can determine the location of the fighter. Doing this without the radar, the F-35 knows what is happening around it without revealing its presence, a capability that adds to its stealth against radars, making the fighter almost entirely invisible. And as if that were not enough, the F-35 is capable of doing this up to 807 miles away. This means that an F-35 flying over Hungary in Central Europe is capable of detecting Russian missile launches in Crimea, and an F-35 flying over Romania, which is Aliança airspace, is capable of following any Russian missile launch carried out in the Black Sea and even in the Russian regions of Krasnodar and Rostov. This is such an impressive capability that an F-35 flying over international airspace in the Black Sea is able to follow Russian missile launches even from the region of Moscow. According to the Minister of Defense of Singapore, all this information about Russian missile launches captured by the F-35 is transferred directly to Ukraine. Based on this, Ukraine is able to carry out two very important procedures. The first is to put its defenses on alert and wait for the arrival of the missiles. The second is the ability to determine the estimated location of those launchers, an important step for Ukrainian drone attacks aimed at destroying those launchers. In the case of air defenses, as it is a type of weapon that only works through the emission of radar waves, the F-35 operating safely within NATO airspace is able, through triangulation, to determine the almost exact location of Russian defenses in Crimea. With this information, being then used by Ukraine for precision attacks. As we have seen, the F-35, without actively participating in the combat, is being decisive for the Ukrainian defensive effort. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe and activate the notification bell to not miss any news, criticisms, ideas, or suggestions. You can leave them in the comments.